everybody. It's great to be with you once again, and it's great to have guests in the studio. And I love doing that, love doing these interviews because it helps you see the dynamic and variety of visitors and guests and businesses that I'm working with and that coaches do. And with me in the studio today is Beau Woods from...
Woods. What is it? He's the footballer.
That's right. He is. Plays for West Coast. Yes. That's one of our local football teams. Sorry about that, Beau. So Beau Woods from has a chiropractic practice, has a number of locations, and it's great having you in the studio. So tell us a little bit about Beau, family, and initially about your business, Beau.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, so I've started out in practice down in the country. I worked down in Narrogin, and then I moved on, and now I practice out of Armidale and Baldos. And we've also got practices in Coburn Central and Perth CBD as our newest addition.
So why chiropractic?
I come from a family of chiropractors, so actually third generation chiropractors. So there's 10 chiropractors in my family, so uncles, stepsister, cousins, so yeah, it's definitely a bit of a family business.
Wow, so it's kind of in the blood.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a family business, but no one works with each other. Everyone does their own thing. So, but yeah, no, it makes for fairly dull Christmases.
Yes.
My wife always says no talking about chiropractic.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about your family.
So yeah, I've got married with 3 little boys. So they're 3 under 3. We had they're now 8, 7, and 5. So that keeps me pretty busy. So
yeah.
I often joke that I go to work for a break.
Yes, sometimes we do. But you also have something else interesting in the family, in what Frances, your wife, does.
Yeah, my wife's a horse rider, so she goes and rides dressage in Germany and here locally in Perth. So yeah, got a few things going on.
Yeah, and you actually have a horse in Germany.
That's correct. Yeah,
yeah.
So my wife goes over there too.
So it's quite a full and interesting life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's never a dull moment.
So you started out where for your own practice?
In terms of location?
Yeah.
Or, so I started down in the country. So I grew up down in Narrogin. So you know, it's about an hour and a half away from Perth, and yeah, so that was sort of where I cut my teeth. And then, you know, and down, it was a great opportunity down in the country for a new graduate because, you know, at that time I think it was a 6-week wait to get in to see a GP in town.
Wow.
So, you know, lots of people would, you know, come and give chiropractic a try, and, you know, got good results, and you know, so it was a really good way to get started.
So when did you actually launch into Perth Metro?
Started in 2007, so I was working between the country and I was going down to Katanning as well, and out to Lake Grace occasionally too. So I was doing about 1,000 k's a week. So working 14-hour days, and you know, so really put in the hard yards to get things started. So
it's interesting for people to get some background, because here we are with 4 practices, and it's easy to assume, he's landed on his feet, somebody's given him some money, etc., etc. But this goes back how many years for you now, that when you first started graduating and now? Yeah,
so it's a 5-year degree to become a chiropractor. I studied at Murdoch Uni, and 12 years actually I've been in practice coming up. Yeah, it's end of 2000, 11 years. So so it's definitely end of 2006 is when I graduated. So yeah,
so overnight success takes a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's blink and you miss it. I mean, I still feel like you know, it's 10 years has gone past pretty quick. So it's been definitely a bit of a whirlwind. Time.
Yeah, because you've actually in the last few years expanded fairly rapidly.
Yeah, and I've so I work alongside 3 other chiropractors, so we work sort of all mixed between the different locations, and yeah, and in my spare time I did a Master of Public Health, which I've just finished as well. Really? So we just finished that off this last trimester. So.
Okay, very good.
Yeah,
very good. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And you brought a coach into the room.
Yeah, so I mean, coaching's been something that that I've done since 2007. I've usually mainly going to continue to have chiropractic specific coaching, and then obviously we met up through BNI, and you know, it's been really good to clarify more just on the business side of things, as opposed to focusing on the chiropractic side of things. So and that you know, helped me clarify where I wanted to go, and opening the fourth location was something that you know, was the process that we went through in terms of, you know, strategically where we were headed, and what was going to work best.
Yeah, so we met in a networking group called Business Network International, and you said to me, John, hey, I need some help, and we've had some really interesting conversations. So what's helped you bring that clarity into your room by the work that we've been doing together?
I think, for me, the biggest issue with, well, not the biggest issue, the biggest advantage of a coach is someone that believes in you more than you believe in yourself. You know, and pushing you just to think about what you want, and where you're headed, and then to say, okay, well, what are you going to do to get to that point? You know, and what's the next step, and what's the next step, and what's next after that? You know, and so it's really just having the, instead of a little voice in your head that drives you, having an external person that can draw out you know, the things that essentially it's all within us. We've got the capacity. Everyone's got the capacity to grow a business or to expand themselves, but a lot of people don't, and so it's you know, it's the clarifying that and helping that happen faster and getting you know, better results faster, I guess. Yeah.
Well, that's certainly what we want to see, the outcome, because we don't want to have a conversation, do we?
No, exactly.
No, it's not just
chat. It's about really, you know, getting the crux of what you want. I mean, and coaching can be whatever you want it to be.
Yes.
I mean, if we could just sit down and have a chat if we wanted
we can.
to.
Yes.
But I think in terms of getting a return on investment and getting you know, what I'm looking for has been really good, and it's often people don't understand what coaching is all about. I mean, I've worked, you know, with other chiropractors as a coach as well, and it's something that's really gratifying, and you know, it's enjoyable.
And we did something quite different with our coaching, because you wanted to get to the point quickly, and so we have how did we set that up?
Well, it's just really sitting down and you know, mapping out where things are at, where we wanted to go in the next year and 5 years, and just sort of working towards that. And you know, I'm sort of, I guess you could say I'm an action taker. I don't like just talking about things. If you're gonna change something, change it dramatically. And, you know, take immediate massive action. Is something that I sort of like to, you know, approach things. And it's good fun.
And part of that is that we deliberately designed the coaching session for half an hour, didn't we?
Yeah, so we're doing half-hour sessions. I mean, it's you know, really outcome focused. And you know, we don't have to sit around, you know, chatting too much. We can get straight into business.
Which was great, because I often will spend with my clients asking a celebration question. You know, what has been working well for you? Because oftentimes people need that assurance and that reaffirming. And he said, yeah, I get all of that, and I know where I'm going. So John helped me with really being sharp about what we are entering into, so I can then step into that immediately and see those action steps taken quickly.
And I mean, I'm not someone that's new to coaching. You know, I would have spent 6 figures on coaching in my career so far, and so it's I guess I kind of knew what I wanted, and you know, and then you were able to help me with that. So it's, you know, it's great.
Yeah. So we started with conceptualizing where the business was and what the next steps were actually going to be, and wrestling through that. So how did that process work for you?
I think talking about personnel and talking about the strength of what the business has got and the infrastructure that we've got in place, and then and then really what's the purpose of it, you know, and it's I guess I'm a fairly mission-driven person, you know, and it's like we're in the business of changing people's lives, you know, and so it's chiropractic to me is really about having a massive impact on the people that we get the privilege of serving, and you know, getting profound results is what drives us, and so it's so the reason for our business is not just to make money.
Yes.
To, you know, because if I just wanted to make money, I'd probably go into property development or you know, YouTube videos or something, so Bitcoin. So you know, but it's about finding what you're passionate about, and then it's not work, it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, so that's so it's you know, looking after people is great fun.
And also, you've done something quite unique with one of your younger chiropractors, and Christian. Tell us a little bit about how your philosophy of developing your team.
Yeah, well, it's funny actually. He's actually older than me, so he's younger and fresh. He's just graduated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so what we did, we structured the arrangement with Christian a little bit differently, mainly because he's from Norway, and so the government forced us to sponsor him and to put him on a permanent salary, which in chiropractic's not that common. Usually it's more of a commission driven or a percentage based sort of remuneration, but so we were able to put in place a salary with superannuation and sick pay, holiday pay, all the things that business owners like to avoid, and that was it's been working out really well, and you know, I'm really pleased with the progress that he's making and stuff. And
so you were fairly hands-on with him, weren't you, in helping train him, not only getting him into the practice as a chiropractor, but actually training him. So tell us about these multiple dynamics you've actually trained him in.
Well, so I'm a technique instructor, so the technique that I use is called Advanced Biostructural Correction, or ABC, and one of a handful of instructors around the world, and basically we've been working, I was working with a group of students while they're studying at uni, and so I was, you know, sort of mentoring a group of guys coming through, and then that sort of naturally moved into offering a position, and you know, so there was a good degree of trust, because you know, when you know someone for a number of years, and you know, then you know that they're going to stick around more than 3 months or 6 months, then you don't mind investing into someone, whereas you know, just advertising and seeing who comes in, then there's that trust needs to be built up. So yeah, it's about developing relationships and giving it freely of your time to people that potentially won't ever work for you as well. You know? So it's not just about you know, training up future associates. It's also about giving back to students and helping their development as well.
So you trained him in ABC in his studies and also in your practice. And what else? How else have you trained him to develop him? Because there's some other aspects that you've helped him see. Yeah,
so I mean, there's I guess because we put so much effort in during, you know, the time at uni. By the time he was joined the practice, then technical skills were there. So then it was more about you know, personal development and communication skills and public speaking and networking and doing all the things that often new graduates never get to do because they're just working on their technical skills. So because we already had the technical skills down, that allowed us to sort of really build more higher level skills quite quickly.
And you let him make a mistake, didn't you? Because you gave him some advice.
Yeah,
and he didn't take it.
Yeah, that was around taking holidays and stuff. And I guess that for a new chiropractor, you know, when you're just getting started, he wanted to go back onto holiday to Norway, and I said, look, it's going to affect your practice. And so he went, and then it came back, and it did affect his practice. So, but it's exactly so. It's allowing people to to learn
Yes.
for things, but that doesn't mean you can never take holidays. It's just you have to kind of really plan ahead for things and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I guess, often the problem in service industries is that, you know, people want you there when they want you there.
That's right. Yes.
We're there to look after people, but at the same time, you've got to make time for yourself. But when you're building a practice, you have to put in the hard yards, particularly at the front end.
So, what do you mean by building a practice?
It's so I guess it's the people that you're looking after at any one point in time, and ultimately that's about relationships. That's people giving you the opportunity to see if you can help them, and you know it takes time and it takes commitment to make long-term changes. So same as going to the gym or doing anything to change your body, you need to sort of do it consistently and over a period of time. So
what have you seen? Do you think Christian now is able to stand alone, and why?
Well, he's getting that way. I mean, I guess it just takes time to really have experienced a particular situation. You know, something's happened before, you remember how you dealt with it in the past, and then what you could have done better. And so it's only, and that's why it's called practice, because it's, you know, you're constantly improving and doing things better and saying, oh well, I shouldn't have done that, and then, you know, improving next time. So it's being in the health practice is a gradual upskilling and constant learning. And I guess the big problem in chiropractic and in a lot of business is that there's lots of people out there that say, oh, I've got 10 years experience, but in reality they've got 1 year of experience 10 times over. Yes. Because they're still doing the exact same thing 10 years down the track. That's what they were doing, you know, the first year out. You know, and so it's not actually growth or expansion or development. And you know, so we definitely don't want to fall into that category. We want to constantly improving things and fine tuning and working on the systems and procedures. So you've not only got the skills, you've actually put yourself into multiple locations, and you've got a philosophy of why you're doing that. So yeah, well, I mean, it's ultimately my philosophy in life is that I'll get everything in life that I want if I can help enough people get what they want. And so it's about creating opportunities for other chiropractors and for them to be able to look after people and build a win-win-win situation. So I think the best relationships are always win-win, and you know, that's what we're endeavouring to build. And you're trying to do that, so having multiple locations, it means people can access your practice at all sorts of different times to their convenience. Is that correct? Yeah. I mean, it's I guess in it's not about working all day every day, but it's about being available when people it's most convenient for people and in different locations. So yeah. So tell us a couple of 2 or 3 key business principles that you live by, because we want to help those that are listening to us, and we get a really great listenership and they stay with us. So we want to help businesses listening to this conversation about, you know, whether they're in the health industry, how they might go to multiple practices. If they're in business in general, how the skills of raising teams up can actually help them. What are the key things that you think really help you the most that could help others as they listen to us? I think that the one thing that for all people in business and in life in general is that the one asset that no one can ever take away from you, whether you're bankrupt or in jail or top of the world flying around in a private jet, is your own yourself. You know, so when spending money on and investing and upskilling yourself is something that is a long-term dividend, and most people that would fall into the category of education. You know, they go to uni and spend $100 grand to get their qualification or whatever it might be, and then pay off that debt. But then for a lot of professional people in particular, after they finish with university, they don't keep working on themselves. And I think that's, you know, we're government regulated, so we have to do a certain amount of CPD, you know, continuing professional development, and a lot of people just do the bare minimum. They tick the box and that's it. But I think, you know, it's really about going way beyond that and, you know, investing in coaching or in self development, whatever it might be. That's something that's going to last you a lifetime. So I think that's one. Yeah, that would definitely be an approach that I've always taken. Maybe too much. I mean, I studied a degree in business prior to going into chiropractic. I started a commerce degree the year before and then finished it concurrently. So I perhaps could have spent less on my self-development. And it's not just about coaching as well. I mean, even travelling and you know, broadening horizons. I mean, through uni, I travelled to about 45 different countries. So that was something that I always sort of knew that you'd either, generally in life, you either have time or money. Rarely do you have both. So, you know, I think look back at the 3-month summer break and longingly now. But it's something that, rather than just going to the pub, you know, going to the cot every
that's
weekend,
right.
it's, you know, travelling through South America and doing all that is something that I encourage all young people to travel first, you know, and particularly new graduates, you know, professionals. So go and travel. You know, you've got your qualification. Go and do some travelling, and then when you come back, get ready to work.
And then work hard.
Exactly.
So you built yourself up, so that's a really prime mover for you. What else in?
Well, and then for business owners, then it's about building your team and putting time and energy into the development of your staff and your team and the people that work with you as well.
So how do you do that?
We have weekly team meetings, so we do that on a weekly basis. So we're running basically to, you know, a fairly flat organisational structure. We've got a whiteboard. Any issues that need working on goes on the whiteboard. We discuss it. The most junior person that's joined the practice, they're just as entitled to put something on the whiteboard as what I am. We discuss it, and then we prioritise it in terms of how quickly it gets actioned. Some things can tend to stay up there for quite some time. Other things are actioned even before they're put on the whiteboard. You know, so it's a good way of keeping track of action steps and things that need to be done, and it's also a good way of sharing around responsibilities, because often business owners like to do everything themselves, because you know, if I don't do it myself, it doesn't get done properly, and that can be a real trap, because there's a limit to what you can do. Whereas you know, if you can delegate and you can have people contributing to getting tasks done, and particularly things that they want to have done in their work environment, then that's a win-win, because you know, they can have input and control, and it allows me to get more things done, because there's many hands make light work.
That's right. That's great. And you did something for the first time this year, didn't you? You took your team away.
Yeah, we went over east to a conference, and that was, you know, to Sydney. That's the first time we've done that sort of interstate travel, and it was really good. You know, definitely, our practice is busier, and it gets everyone on the same page and focused on where we're headed, and why we have the systems and procedures in place, what the purpose of it is, rather than it just being some random rule that we follow because that's the way it is. Everything's thought about, and there's a purpose to everything.
So, building you as the business owner is really important. Building your teams and putting time into that is clearly important to you. A third one?
For business or for
business?
Business owners. I think constantly, you know, pulling it apart and making it better, you know, and seeing what you can do better in whatever it might be. You know, whether you're a plumber or you know, brain surgeon, it doesn't matter. It's constant reinvention and innovation, because what worked 10 years won't work tomorrow. It's just because it's worked in the past doesn't mean it's going to work in the future. So it's about, you know, teasing things apart and you know, constantly strengthening what you're doing.
So how do you do that within the business?
Feedback, you know, from what's working, looking at stats of you know, your KPIs, and you know, looking at where the rubs are, and then basically trying to, you know, smooth those rubs. You know.
And so that's dealing with metrics, client metrics, finance metrics, and really letting them tell you the story, and then reflecting that story about what is changing and what's not changing, what's working and what's not working, and then really being proactive. So that's really important.
Yeah. And you know, in your marketing, it's seeing what's working well, and then trying lots of different things.
Yes.
Do more of what works,
yes,
and discard the things that don't work.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a constant, and that changes.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
You know.
So what's in marketing? Because everybody wants to know. How do I get clients? I get that asked that question, and of course it's unique for every business, and even locations, which we have talked about, haven't we? The way different marketing styles have worked for different locations.
Yeah.
So to help businesses answer that question about what is the question they really should be asking about how they should market.
I think the key to marketing is realising that there's no silver bullet. You know,
yes.
I would approach marketing more like a share portfolio. You
yes.
know, it's having a diversity of lots of different holdings, if you will.
Yes.
And then some are going to work well at a certain point in time, others aren't. So, you know, and you reinvest more in one, and you know, and sell another one. So,
yes.
you know, it's having a bit of a portfolio of marketing strategies. So, you know, networking and Facebook and, you know, internet website, you know, it's really doing lots of different things, and then doing more of what works, I guess, is the way I'd approach it.
Clients are fairly important, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what our practice is made up of, as individual people.
But in marketing as well for you, they're fairly important.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's referrals from existing clientele is our number one, you know, source of new people, and you know, and that's ultimately comes down to the service we give, the results that we get clinically. So yeah, that's there's definitely been periods where I've only accepted people that were on a referral basis. So it's a really strong part of the way that we do business, for sure.
Chiropractic, people think you're just a bone cruncher.
Yeah.
But I know some of the stories, because I know some of the people that have gone through your practice. You know this. Would it be a little bit maybe to tell a story like that about an impact on what a client has actually said to you, to help our listeners understand the power of what chiropractic is actually doing and what you're actually doing through your practice? Yeah,
well, I mean, so essentially chiropractic is about the connection between your brain and your body. So when there's misalignment in your spine, that affects the way that your nervous system is functioning. So that's, in terms of our take on it, is we really focus on things posturally and structurally. So the results that people get, you know, are observable. So we do a before and after photo for people on their first visit, and then track that through over time. So that's really something tangible, and you know, people can see, okay, that's what I was like, you know, a few minutes ago, and that's what I am now. There's something going on here, you know. So there's the work that we do is really focused on objective change and seeing, you know, structural change for people. So
I know about a golfer who came in and couldn't swing. What's changed for him? So it's about so our tagline on our logo is pain, posture, performance. So a lot of people will drag themselves in, you know, they're crippled, limping, or they've got a particularly ache or pain going on, and so they want to
address that. And that's on its most basic level. Most people know that chiropractic can help with back pain and neck pain and headaches, and it's great for that. But that's sort of step one. The second step is, you know, posture, is changing things structurally, actually getting, you know, a lasting underlying change is really what we're aiming for. And then the higher level function is about, the highest sort of level approach is performance. So that's about looking more about the golfer that wants to improve his swing, or the, you know, looking at things more from a wellness perspective. So it's not just about getting out of pain, it's about optimising function at a high level. So ultimately, that's our aim for everyone, is to be at that highest level of function. But, you know, plenty of people come in and they just got aches and pains, and they're chewing back the Nurofen and the Panadol, and you know, that's it's really damaging to people to be taking those drugs long term. So, you know, that really motivates us when people get those great results and, you know, get off all sorts of medications. It's really gratifying, and that's why we do what we do.
Is there one last thing you'd like to say to those listening to us today as we bring this to a close?
I think the thing is finding what you're passionate about. You know, if you go into business and the only reason is to make money, then that's going to drive you to a certain degree. But if you it's the why. Why do you want to make money? So even if it's just to make money, is it to provide a lifestyle for my family, or is it to look after my parents, or, you know, it's finding your why. And I think if you can tap into that, then motivation's a lot more readily available to you. So it's really getting that big why, and then from that finding a vocation and something that's going to put food on the table.
Yeah, that's right. Great having you in the studio, Beau. Really appreciate your openness and conversation with us today, and I'm sure our listeners are really going to enjoy that, and there's a lot to take away. So thank you so much. It's been great to have you, and really great to do the show. So what we'd like you to do, don't forget, is please subscribe, and that's really powerful because it'll prompt you by ticking the bell, and it'll all be driven to you so you'll know when our next releases are happening. Great to be with you. Thank you so much, because we want to help you do business better.